Welcome, everyone. And if you like that intro song, please go check out Gayfesh on YouTube, Twitter, maybe Twitter. I don't think they stream, but YouTube, Twitter, Bandcamp too. Definitely go check them out on Bandcamp so you can pay them for their work. Make some great music. You may know him from Demon Mom Stream, Grade A poster, just all around good lefty. Good to have around. Nice person. So if you ever see Gayfesh around and you don't want to commission some work, because that's the best way to go about this here for sure. At least say hi, say what's up, see how Fesh is feeling. I am glad to. Oop, I forgot I hid that. There we go. I'm glad to be back and live. You may notice there's been a bit of some changes. I have moved entire sides of the town at this point. So there's going to be some changes going around in camera angle and stuff like that. You'll have to forgive me. I haven't had time to put up my audio squares yet, so no foam on the walls means there's a little bit of an echo. I haven't exactly found, precise... I know where I want most of them, but there's usually a spot, towards the back end of you want somewhere, and I haven't been able to quite find that spot yet. What else? Oh, and for lighting problems, I have a light coming in literally tomorrow, so Saturday you'll see a brand new lighting, so it'll be like a new setup. But after that, we should be back to normal entirely, and I'll be streaming not on my normal schedule. I'm actually gonna go ahead and just explain that a bit now. Actually, let's record a little segment so I can just throw it up as just like a short on my YouTube of hey, here's what's going on. So, as you all know, I am a real adult human being who pays bills, so I have a job. I typically stream from 11:30 a.m. to about 2 p.m. on Tuesday, Thursday, and then just however long I go on Saturday, right? Well, if you're watching live now, you'll know that is not happening. It's about 7 p.m. Pacific time, and I'm finally hitting live. I have not permanently, just for about 1 to 2 months tops, swap shifts with a co-worker because she was in an accident and needs some time to recover and be able to go to physical therapy in the morning. So I volunteered to swap shifts with her. No big deal, really. I'm young. I can wake up whenever I need to and work whenever I need to. That being said, however, that means that the stream schedule is going to change. I am going to still be streaming on Tuesday and Thursday, and as well as Saturday. But instead of before work, I'm going to be doing it after work. So you look for streams about 5 p.m. I'd say is 5 p.m. Pacific time is what I'd say the average you'd want would be for me to be showing up around. But once I get kind of the groove of it and feel, I'll get a set schedule for the next 2 months going. But don't worry, there will be content. So, with that being said, I appreciate you all sticking with me, and know it can be a bit frustrating, but don't worry. Everything's going to go ahead and get back on track soon. So, I figure I should make that a quick segment so I can just explain. I'll post that up on my Twitter, post it up on YouTube, and just be won't even cut it. I might cut it just because I'm a perfectionist and I need to audio balance or I'll feel insane. I'll be like, no, it's bad. So I'll probably cut it, but let's see. Where should we start off today? I want to do an easier stream just because it's my first day working the schedule. I literally changed from a closer to pretty much an opener in one day. So I'm exhausted. I'm not feeling too great. So I'm not trying to do too much politics today. I think where we'll start, actually, we'll just start off with my home country, Ethiopia. We'll go through a bit of that. There's been some very, very big news coming out of Ethiopia. Something I honestly did not expect to see this soon in. I believe the Ethiopian federal government has to have finally recognized that they have other issues mounting to come towards Ethiopia and inland and inland inside of Ethiopia as well to deal with. So they have pulled out of Mekelle and many other regions in Tigray, proposing I'm proposing just announcing a complete ceasefire. Now, there are reports that come from TPLF officials that say that the ceasefire, especially with Eritrean troops, hasn't been adhered to, and the TPLF is still going through to retake the areas that they were in. But it is a positive movement without a doubt. There are thousands of people in Sudan currently who are Tigrayan Ethiopian immigrants, refugees that can now return to their farmland, return to their home, return to their village. If they live in Mekelle, return to hopefully a part of their home wasn't part of the part that was burned down or anything. But at least they can return to the area. And it is with their own People's Party still being able to control the area. For those of you not aware and haven't looked at any of the previous videos I've done on the issue, first of all, hello. And second of all, I'll go ahead and just do the quickest rundown of it. It's a long story if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of everything that's happened with this civil war and, quite honestly, ethnic genocide by the Ethiopian federal government. But the basic gist of it is TPLF controlled the majority party of the government for a very long time post 80s, when the USSR stopped backing the current military and the TPLF's forces helped take over. They controlled the vast majority, if not almost all, of the parliament seats for a long period of time. There was a big problem with corruption in the Ethiopian government. Due to that corruption, there was a split in the parties. Abiy Ahmed's new party takes control of the majority. There's essentially what's supposed to happen is a special election which would allow the TPLF to vote on their, I think it's 157. You'll have to look up the specifics on the number of seats the region for Tigray has. But it's somewhere around the 150 range. And essentially they'd be able to vote on their regional seats again, because their regional seats had been vacated after the removal of the previous prime minister. Like I said, very brief breakdown of that. There's a lot more happened in between of Abiy Ahmed comes in and there needs to be this vote, but you get the gist. That vote did not happen because, the federal government says it's because of COVID-19. It did not happen for a very long time. Then the TPLF held their own regional elections where they won 100% of the vote because it was held only in the Tigrayan region. Abiy Ahmed declares that to be a illegitimate vote because, come on. Yeah. Yeah. But the TPLF at the same time declares Abiy Ahmed government illegitimate because they have not been allowed to refill or even vote to refill their regional seats. Long story short there, civil war starts out. Eritrean forces are seen assisting Ethiopian forces in pushing the TPLF out of major cities. Lots of war crimes were committed. Eritrean forces have a unfortunate penchant for, I don't want to say unfortunate because that's not painting it in the right, it's disgusting is what it is. The Eritrean forces have a penchant for raping people as a method of war. So Abiy Ahmed's party's been complicit in that, even though they say they haven't, but their Minister of Defense says they have. It's a long, big mess. Fast forward to about a week and a half ago, that election that was supposed to go through finally happens. Like the one that Abiy Ahmed promised finally happens, except opposition, a large swath of opposition leaders were not included, and those seats that the TPLF were going to vote on, like the Tigrayan region seats, were not voted on. Obviously, this is a large problem, and I've done a video on the elections if you want to take a look at that. Now we get to fast forward to today, and news is breaking that yesterday, news is breaking that the Ethiopian forces have not only declared that ceasefire, but have withdrawn from Mekelle and are withdrawing from other regions and, other parts of the Tigrayan region. They have not fully withdrawn. There is still fighting with the TPLF as they are attempting to withdraw. But silver lining on the dark cloud here is that these people will get to return home to their families. There are people who were literally in the middle of working and don't know if their family is okay because they just had to flee to Sudan because they weren't even in the city that their family was in at the time. We saw what was going on at the Sudanese border. If you've taken a look at any of the previous stuff I've done, there is a massive swath of people who will get to return home, and honestly, extremely importantly, at least in my opinion, will be under the control of their people's government. Now, the TPLF, don't get me wrong, is no bloodless, clean organization that has done no wrongs and is just the perfect political organization of all time. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that it's a much better situation than Ethiopian and Eritrean forces, both together with an Amhara militia, fighting the TPLF, burning places into the city and forcing people out. It's just is a better situation. If you don't think it is, I honestly don't think you care that much about the human life cost that's happening here, and it just has to be a land play for you. And at the same time, there has been some worry about Egypt and Sudan having talks about coming into the area and trying to take land. It's been a large mess. But now I got you caught up a little bit, and you know that, hey, the Ethiopian forces are trying to pull out, and that is a good thing, at least in my opinion. I want to take a look at some testimonials here, just a little quick video of some of the people who just saw that they can return back to their homes, return back to where they work, live, where their families hopefully still are. Because it's really powerful stuff, honestly. And I think that I say we because I do it too. It's just usually not with this country because I have a personal connection. But with a lot of things like this, there is a tendency to think of the large picture, the large swath, and not really think of the individual person to person, like how this is actually affecting people on the ground in their life. So I want to take a quick look at that, just so we can, I don't know, be a little bit more human. Pull this up here.
This is where Ethiopian refugee Yamane Fishai says he heard the news. Rebels in his home region of Tigray had retaken control of the capital Mekelle. He fled from Maikadra when the conflict started in November between the Ethiopian federal government and the Regional Tigray People's Liberation Front, or TPLF. He says he had to leave his family behind.
I'm glad that most of Tigray has been liberated and that most of the places are under the control of Tigray people. Maybe now I can return to my family that I...
Now, if anybody has, because I've been trying to look for a lot of information on this, and it's really hard to see like specifically what places have been taken back, because it's, well, one, it's an active, ongoing situation, like active to the point where that like Mekele got taken back yesterday, and two, there's not a lot of information coming in and out of the region right now. So like, if anyone has a, I don't know, any just basic map or anything of it to show like what's been taken back, I'd be really, really interested in that. Because in my understanding of it, from what I found so far at least, is it is the capital of Mekele, which is huge, 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 huge deal. But also like surrounding villages, but there's still, I think at least, 2 other cities that haven't been fully pulled out of yet. Now, I don't know that for sure because, like I said, I haven't been able to confirm or deny that. But the thing that leads me to believe that is that I haven't seen anything mentioning it. Which, like I said, if they have, very good. As quickly as this happens, the quicker the better. I just don't know if it's happened yet, so I don't want to mislead anybody.
I left behind and try to find them. I can try to search for my children. I can also go look for those that died and bury them.
The news of the TPLF's return to Mekele and other cities in Tigray this week was welcomed by many refugees here.
Okay, other cities. Okay, I don't pre-watch any of these videos if you can't tell. Like, well, why isn't Al Jazeera? Because I was actually on. This is an Al Jazeera video, as you can see by the logo. But I was literally on their like text website, article website. And I didn't see anything that mentioned the other cities, just Mekele. I don't know why they didn't have anything like in print for it. Or maybe you know what, they probably do and I'm just very, very bad at looking for it, let's be real.
Following the news on television and social media.
The Amhara and Eritrean soldiers are now gone, as well as the federal troops. So there will be no more atrocities in Tigray. I can go home to my village now. I've not heard from my family since the conflict started because I was working in a farm and they were at home.
The 8 months of fighting has displaced nearly 2 million people. Rights groups have reported abuses by both sides of the conflict. People in Tigray.
Yeah, so there's been about 2 million people displaced, and for like where they're talking to that guy in the Sudanese refugee camp, there's been about, I think it was estimated at 200,000 that they had been specifically that were refugees that went to Sudan. So the human toll on this, even though it's only been 8 months of fighting, like, and I say only because Africa has long civil wars in Africa usually go quite a bit of time and will have cooldowns and startup periods where like one civil war is technically 3, but it's been happening for 4 to 5 years and like stopped and restarted. Like there's actually one point that happened in why can't I think? I just talked about the country like a week ago. Nigeria. Nigeria had something very similar to that happen. But all that is to say, like, for a shorter, in terms of African conflict, there's still managed to be a just massive human toll into people who, honestly, had absolutely nothing to do with what either side is upset about. Like, no one in the Tigrayan region controlled Abiy Ahmed's decision to cut off aid, declare the TPLF illegitimate, and start up a civil war. And at the same time, most people who lived in the Tigrayan region also weren't like directly participating in fraud for like 20 or however long. God, I can't remember the period now because it's been so long since I actually read up on it. God, 20 years? Somewhere around there. However long the TPLF was holding fraudulent control. That wasn't the average Tigrayan's fault. But those are the people who are affected in these conflicts. Just don't forget that.
Have reported killings by Eritrean troops who fought alongside the Ethiopian federal government and militias from the neighboring Amhara region. The United Nations has said sexual violence and starvation have been used as weapons of war. 70,000 people have...
The UN, if you know, has been reporting, like I said before, Eritrean soldiers literally, unfortunately, use rape as a weapon in war. It's not that uncommon. But also, there have been massive droughts, and obviously with the drought comes a famine. To add on top of that, there have been reports from the UN and TPLF officials of Eritrean forces and Amhara militias burning crops as well to exasperate that God, I just said the word. Famine. Why couldn't I think of the opposite of drought for a second? To exasperate that famine.
Fled to neighboring Sudan since the start of the conflict. The United Nations has described the situation in Tigray as fluid and unpredictable. Hundreds of thousands are in desperate need of relief supplies, and fighting is still ongoing in parts of the region. But for many here, the fact that the TPLF has regained control of most of Tigray is enough for them to hope that they may be able to return home in the near future. Some say they want to go and search for those they left behind. Others say they want to return to their farms and see what remains of their homes and belongings. And still others want to return to start where they left off.
I was in high school and planning to go to university. Now that things have changed in Tigray, there is peace. I may be able to go back and finish studies and get a job and build Tigray to be an independent country.
Ethiopian federal troops still control most of the roads in and out of Tigray. But refugees here say all they're waiting for is word from across the border to return to the homes and lives they've left behind. Hiba Morgan, Al Jazeera, Rakuba Camp, Gadaref, Sudan.
Now, like they said there is still fighting going on, and there is still just because the Ethiopian troops have pulled out of the majority of the region, it looks like that doesn't mean the conflict itself is entirely over. There's still no... Ethiopia isn't sending any aid like it used to. It's not treating it like any of the other regions where they, send money, help with infrastructure, anything like that. That all stopped 8 months ago, and that's still not going on. So there is still a massive, massive need for international help, and there is still a conflict going on between the TPLF and the Ethiopian government. But this is a very, very, very positive step. There is nothing beneficial for either group for that conflict to keep going on. It is only going to exacerbate problems that exist for both groups at this point. And I think, at the very least, Abiy Ahmed finally sees that, and with the international pressure sees that he cannot continue on with what he's been doing. And in my opinion, that is a good thing, and I honestly didn't see it coming, so I am happy. Not happy. I am pleasantly surprised. I really, really honestly did not see this coming through. I figured that we were going to be seeing some very, very bad atrocities coming out pretty soon, and I honestly thought that it was going to turn into a situation where they left themselves open to Egypt, Eritrea, and Sudan. Well, South Sudan, at least. Alright. Knock that one out here. No, actually, I might close this. There was a Coach Red Pill video I was gonna do a react to and make fun of him, but like, I don't feel like it right now. I just don't. I don't feel like dealing with that weird little dude. We can deal with the weird little dude later. Alright. It may seem like a millennia ago at this point. And actually, I was just thinking about this in the shower. Like, it seems like not only extremely long time ago, but also something that, I mean, sure, it gets brought up every once in a while, but kind of like almost as a distant memory at this point that no one is taking like crazy seriously anymore. And that is literally half a year ago. People stormed the Capitol chanting to hang the vice president, to kill a bunch of senators and congressmen that were inside there. And we've kind of just like, as long as you're not seeing an anchor, we've kind of moved along. It gets brought up every time there is a new arrest made, and they'll bring up just who's been arrested for it, and that's about it. But unless it's specifically talking about like trying to start up a January 6th commission, and the public discussion, there hasn't really been too much. Even from the right side, like up until maybe a few weeks ago, I'd say 2 to 3 weeks ago, when it all started to kick back up, you didn't hear too much about it. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because, of course, Donald Trump, even though he's banned from Twitter, knows the best way to stir up his base on Twitter. And that is these little messages that he sends out. And honestly, I need to like go to his website and figure out how to get on this mailing list, because these are hilarious. I will just make a separate email for just this and just keep it for this, set up notifications on my phone or something. It'll be mwah. Because these are absolutely hilarious, and I need to get more of them. But this one has a very short, very simple, easy to understand for his fan base message here. Who shot Ashley Babbitt? Pretty simple question, right? Now, for those of you who are unaware or just forgot, Ashley Babbitt was the woman who was deep inside the Capitol, got to where they were holding senators and congresspeople, and while a window had been broken out of the door and people were screaming, being told to stop, told do not come inside, by people who were by Capitol Police who were holding guns at the door, Ashley Babbitt is the woman who attempted to climb through, and screamed for people to follow her before being shot and dying. Now, I don't celebrate anybody's death. I really hold on. It's specifically, I'm not like, yeah, kill that person. I had to change that up because when Rush Limbaugh died, like I said, I wouldn't want Rush Limbaugh to die, but I'm pretty happy he's not alive anymore. Those are some pretty big exceptions. Fucking Donald Rumsfeld too. Like, those are pretty big exceptions. But at the same, I still don't wish death onto anybody. However, I don't think there is more of a justifiable shooting that I could see than somebody who's guarding state officials while people who are outside are screaming and literally putting up gallows to screaming to hang the vice president and other people, shooting someone who has literally got past the last line of defense. I can't imagine a more, like, it, unless somebody was literally standing over you with a knife. Like, that's the only more justifiable shooting I could think of. So, we all assumed as it happened that she was going to be used as a martyr by the right-wing party, and lo and behold, we were correct. I don't actually have too much to say about this message here. Like, I don't have too much to say about Ashley Babbitt or specifically the incident or anything that happened. I mean, if you've watched videos of it, you know what happened. You know what she was doing and why she got shot. And you also know that it's, well, hey, well, no, this last part you don't know. This is up to your moral values. But the loss of a life is the loss of a life holds a certain value to it, independent of who the person was, and then you just start putting different factors onto that, right? To where you land on where you're going to judge it. The real reason I want to talk about this is because, and you can call me a conspiracy theorist for this, I do not think that is a coincidence that Donald Trump decided that July 1st was going to be the day he put this message out. He could have put this message out for 7 months before this. With that, no problem. He did not. It just so happens that he put it out on the same day that the Supreme Court went ahead and put out a decision on the Arizona voting rights laws that were going through, that essentially it made it more difficult to vote in Arizona, especially if you were in a poorer area and have to, don't have time that you can take off of work for that kind of thing. The same day that the Supreme Court made that decision and decided in favor of Arizona, and also all of their justices talked a lot about fraud for some reason, is when this came out. This is, in my opinion, an intentional riling up of his fan base. This is all going together to re-rile up the fan base around the voter fraud theory from earlier this year that started out and made this, the January 6th event even happen. There is no doubt in my mind that is entirely intentional, that these things just happen to happen, they happen to happen on the same day. No way. And we've seen in the last week, as the Supreme Court decision was getting ramped up to, we've seen this last week with that Supreme Court decision being ramped up to, multiple different right-wing news sources going out and talking more and more about these conspiracy theories, talking about asking who, specifically this question, who shot Ashley Babbitt, asking for the name of the officer, which, have no doubt in your mind, if the name of the officer that pulled that trigger got put out, that dude would need to go into a protection program because right-wingers would be trying to murder him. That's what this has got galvanized to at this point. What this entire thing is just a way to cynically drum up your fan base and make them more diehard, using her as a martyr. And I mean, I personally find it pretty disgusting to do. on top of the fact of the matter being that if you're trying to make this specific person a martyr, like, and what action they were doing, that promotes a very, very dangerous mindset for, honestly, our political landscape going forward. Stuff like January 6th, that's not the last time that's going to happen, especially with the state of the world and the state of the way things are going to go. And with a climate crisis, we're going to see, as tensions build, things like this happening more and more often. And the Republican Party is banking on it at this point. Like, that's not a negative for them. That's just a way that they can advertise. Oh, I got a notification. What do you want? Hey, yeah, you know, I'm not doing that Coach Red Pill video today. That sounds like a major pain to me, honestly. What we're gonna do, well, first I'm gonna drink some of this water. We're gonna do 2 React videos, and then I'm playing a video game. There's a new video game I bought. You probably seen some streamers playing it. Phantom Abyss, I really want to play some. So we're gonna stream that. So I'll do 2 React videos, and then we'll get into that. Let's see what yeah. Alright, so we got for our choice here, we got either 6 bisexuals versus 1 secret straight for odd one out. That seems very fun. That seems very fun. And I bet you I could do fantastic. This gaydar is insane. We got Disturbing Things from Around the Internet, Volume 11 from Nexpo. And A Killer's Dark Fantasy World, The Disturbing Case of Randy Stair, or Andrew Blaze. So essentially, actually, what you're deciding between is this or this. You know what, we'll close that. We're gonna do murder and bisexuals, and then we'll play video games.
You're bi as a girl.
Yes.
And then, of course, it's like, oh, you want to have a 3?
Actually, let me update our title, because I don't want people coming in here asking me about Ethiopia and shit after I've already done it. Guess the straight. Murder. Anime kid. Wait, no. Hold on. That sounds bad. No, don't murder anime kid. I'm trying to think of a way to put that kid. You know what? We'll just put true crime reacts. True crime all reacts, baby. All reacts all the time. There we go. Now we're getting fancy with it.
Oh my god, I'm not a unicorn.
We brought together 7 bisexuals.
I am bisexual.
I am bisexual.
Well, no, you didn't. You brought 6 and 1 straight person. Don't lie to me.
I'm bisexual.
I'm
Already
bisexual.
on you.
I'm bisexual.
I'm
Detective Azzy in the building.
bisexual.
I am bisexual.
1 is
Alright,
a liar.
so off the bat,
If the group
I think
discovers
it's
who the
Tristan.
liar is, they'll
But,
split
like, I'm not locking that in yet. But so far, I think it's Tristan.
the cash prize. If the liar survives, they
I
win
don't
the
know.
entire
Hold on.
prize.
They need
Who
to... Wait, do they not have any chairs? Because that's cheating. If they just sat down, if they just have chairs and they all take a seat, I can tell you who it is immediately. Whichever person, like, sits down normally and then goes, oh, wait, hold on, I need to, like, do a little thing with my legs.
Is the odd one out.
Hey, okay, what's up?
I'm David. Nice to meet y'all.
Tristan.
Marissa. I'm Sydney. Ellie.
Melvin.
Molly.
I was nervous because everyone was looking like they could fit into...
Okay, first of all, your name is Melvin. Your name is not Melvin. Your name is Melvin. And also, he's bisexual. Don't even need to interview this guy. He can keep on going.
Being a bisexual person?
How would you define bisexuality in like your own words, I guess?
For me, it's just being attracted to human beings where I see people for their heart and their
It's
soul.
David. Never mind. I take it all back. It's David. It's David.
Of course, I care about the outside too, don't get me wrong.
I was suspicious of David just because that was the closest one I could feel was not bisexual.
David just has more of a hetero look compared to everyone else.
I've dated.
Yo, hold on. I ain't talking about his look, though. He's okay. Like, it's alright. He's not wearing anything, like, wild or... What's this dude wearing? Hold on, what? Like... Is that one leg? Is that like a skirt? If it's a skirt, that makes much more sense, and never mind whatever. Or like a dress thingy. But I think those are two separate legs there that start maybe at the calf. And I don't get that. If that's the case, I have some beef with whatever his name is.
Both girls and guys. Not that that means like you're bi or not.
Yeah, I see it as just fluidity. Sometimes I'm like more into men, more into women, but no matter what, it's not a passing phase. I'm always gonna be bisexual no matter who I'm dating.
For me, the same thing, basically. It's just I don't really have a preference.
I recently saw on
Tristan's bi too. Never mind, it's David.
TikTok someone say being bi could be being attracted to people who are non-binary and binary gender-wise, and I'm like, you know what, I kind of like that even better because I feel like that's more inclusive.
I felt like Molly was like very sure of herself, so that made me a little suspicious.
It's close to pansexual. It's kind of the same because we are attracted to both gender, but sometimes...
Look, I don't want to invalidate anybody. Please, dear God, somebody who's a pansexual, come explain it to me. Because I have tried to understand so many times, and I'm just like, so you're bi? Doesn't make sense to me. The best explanation I've had is that like it included NBs as well, and I was like, okay, I kind of get that, but like, I don't know. They put what? What?
No, it's okay.
Also, followers. What do they do? Like, do they post these on Instagram, like, in little segments first and then have people vote on it? Because, first off, everyone who voted for Molly, fool. Absolute fool. It's David 100%.
My gut instincts were telling me Ellie might be the odd one out.
It's David.
I felt like I should vote for Molly because I feel like this is the safe bet.
And we have a tie between
Ellie definitely bi, though.
and Molly. That means we're going into a tiebreaker. What we're gonna do is give you each 20 seconds to state your case.
What we're gonna do is give you each 20 seconds to be like, no, guys, trust me, really, I am bi. Quick, you have 20 seconds to prove your existence.
Okay, I don't know what to tell you guys. Maybe I came off too strong or something, but I just have a big personality. I am bisexual. I've questioned it multiple times beforehand, but I finally identified what I really feel. And I mean, I hope you guys can see that.
All right, I have known that I was bi or not straight or a lesbian since I was about 8 years old when my parents caught me looking up girls.
Hold on. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it is Molly, but I have a second theory. It's still David. Molly is the debate lord. Molly likes to... If Molly was talking about how she follows people on Twitter, it would be an MLA format. You get what I'm saying? Like,
kissing on YouTube. Angelica from Rugrats is what really started this off for me, so that's pretty good.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. No. Molly is a monster. I'm still going with her being bi. But your first crush was Angelica from the Rugrats? She was terrible. That's like, God, who... I can't remember her name. She was on a Prime K's panel and straight up was just like, yeah, you know what? I really like Griffith from Berserk. And not like I like him as a villain. Just, I really like him as a person. I was like, monster. Actual serial killer.
So I think Molly, her answers at the end when she was like trying to prove herself were too spot on. This is definitely like very stereotypical.
True, between the two, you vote Molly.
Yeah, my radar's off right now.
If I'm wrong, I question my judgment.
I mean, like, I know myself. Like, I knew how to present myself because it's me, and I am bisexual. But I think being myself sounded too rehearsed.
What kind of music do you listen? Like, what artists do you listen?
Look, I think just people didn't like you. Which, I mean, debate lords.
Mine is so cliche.
Selena Gomez, Miley Cyrus,
I saw
Demi
you listen to
Lovato. Miley Cyrus is
Rascal
pansexual too.
Yes, she is.
Demi Lovato just came out as pansexual.
She did.
Miley Cyrus, I
Miley?
love Miley.
Wait, did they just ask what kind of music they like?
But I think being myself sounded too rehearsed.
What kind of music do you listen? Like, what artists do you listen
Mine is
to?
so cliche.
Selena Gomez, Miley Cyrus,
I saw
Demi
you listen to
Lovato.
Rascal
Miley Cyrus is
Flatts.
pansexual too.
Yes, she is.
Demi Lovato just came out as pansexual.
Okay, hold on. David's way too excited about this. David's
She
lying.
did.
Miley Cyrus, I
Except
love
Miley.
Miley Cyrus.
My
I
favorite
wanna
person
meet
is
her.
Adam Lambert. I've been obsessed with him since I was
American
12.
Idol?
So like my last name online is Glambert everywhere.
Why does Adam Lambert sound familiar? Because I know I've heard an Adam Lambert song. Hold on. I just need to see a song title and I'll be like, oh, okay. Okay. There's a remake of Rocky Horror Picture Show? Let's do the time warp again. What? What? What songs did you write, fool? I guess not fool. I don't know. I'm sure I've heard a song before. I keep this open to... Oh god, it's bad. Oh no, it's bad. That's even better.
And if that's not kind of gay, I don't know what is.
I listen to Beyonce, Nicki Minaj, Frank Ocean, and
Rihanna.
French music.
I was suspicious of Melvin at first, and the mole could also be.
Hold on. It's Melvin. Marisa. Also, no, he likes Frank Ocean. He's bi.
Someone who's more of like a feminine man.
I have a question.
Yes, okay.
So when did everyone came out, and how was the family reaction, friends' reaction?
It was like my parents, like my mom. I was like the first time taking an edible. We're having a moment, and I'm like, Mom, I need to tell you something. And she's like, what? And I'm like, I like girls. What do guys do? And she's just like, oh, okay. And like no one really expected it, but everyone was really accepting.
I feel like because sometimes I'll be like with a guy more, then like people will question, oh, are you actually bisexual or not? Yeah. So I question it multiple times.
Yeah, she's really bi. She's bi. That's some like shit you hear for like that gets asked by people all the time. It's one, if you date one sex more than the other, they will just assume, well, no, you're actually straight or whatever. Or you're actually gay. Really just depends on if the person you're talking to is straight or gay, what they'll land on. And then the other assumption is that you want to have a three-way. And you want to have a three-way, and you want to have a three-way with everyone you meet, essentially, is what the assumption becomes. You'll see it a surprising amount. And I'm not even just talking online or anything. I first started noticing it when I was out in bars 4 or 5 years back, and I had a friend who's very, very openly bi, and dates people or different people of different sexes all the time. He legit changes partners every 2 or 3 months. But due to that, he would legit get propositioned for three ways with not the people you'd want to have sex with. Let me put it that way. It's people that you'd go, well, thank you very much, but no thank you.
Sophomore, junior year of college, I felt like I could identify with bisexuality.
So to me, I came out when I graduated high school. I was like feminine, like the way I walk, the way I talk and everything. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm gay. And then I found a girl. I was like, well, I'm straight. I actually like both, so I guess I'm bi.
I came out as lesbian in 8th grade, and then in 9th grade realized that I liked a guy.
Is Melvin, whatever, like out here playing the big long game? Like, he might have me big fooled right now.
Now I have, but I used to date girls more, and then I started dating. But I mean, I date both, but yeah.
She knew what she was saying, but there wasn't that strong of an emotional connection coming out through her face. She sounded like someone who did research on like bisexuality.
I'm wondering, like, what are some of the dumb stereotypes you guys have heard that like are really annoying to you, like your pet peeves?
That we're cheaters.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
That's a big one. Yeah.
To me, it's like, oh, you're bi, so you can just get everyone.
Yeah. Have any of your partners ever said like, oh, more competition?
Hello?
Yeah. It's like, no, like I love you. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Although I have dated a guy and a girl at the same time once. It did.
I still think it's
go
dating.
well. But for once, I felt like people were validating
I'm
me.
saying
Because you were actually actioned
Exactly.
it
I was
out.
like, oh yeah, now what? Am I gay or am I straight to you? Because I have both right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's also annoying when like guys like hear that you're bi as a girl,
Yes.
and then of course it's like, oh, you want to have a threesome?
Oh my God, I'm not a
messed
unicorn. Like seriously. The first question you always gets asked, at least for like, I know for women too, it's like, well, have you even been with a girl? For men, it's always like, you're not bisexual, you're gay.
If people ask me like, oh, do you like girls or guys more? I don't want to answer that question because it always changes, like you said. I've only dated guys, but it doesn't mean I'm...
Never mind. I take back what I said about his pants. The legs start like at a normal spot. They just have very large legs. Those are okay.
Hey, like it means I still
I retract my
attracted to
statement.
women. It's like
And the thing too is
questioning,
like
you
they
know?
assume that you're gay, but you know, you're just saying that you're bi just to make it like easier. Like,
Yeah.
Are you sure you're just not gay and you just don't want to try
yeah.
something? Like,
And I feel like it's way worse for guys in that way, and then for girls it's like,
You're
no,
not.
you're just straight,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
you know, you just want to like experiment, whatever.
Exactly.
So I voted for Sydney because I don't know, she seemed a little nervous.
Honestly, really don't know.
I was a little more suspicious
I'm
of Ellen
surprised by
because I
the
also
Sydney
felt like the
vote.
guys were kind of teaming up, so I wanted to vote for her so I wouldn't be voted out.
Well played.
So sorry.
Very well played. I don't think it's Ellie either, though.
It's okay. I hope you find the hetero guys. I was just so confused why they chose me.
Like, no, it's Ellie. Like, no, sorry, it's not Ellie. Like, she
Maybe I was
bisexual for
talking
sure.
too much. I don't know. Everyone was too quiet, so I felt like I had to speak up.
If you want to continue playing, please raise your hand in 3, 2, 1.
I wonder if they've had any videos that they had to kill because they did one round and it got way too uncomfortable and just no one raised their hand. Like, they're like, I gotta go.
I have a
don't wanna do this
question.
anymore.
Okay.
Was it difficult for you to come out to yourself? Because it was extremely difficult for me because I never really had a crush on a guy because I would only have crushes on females. Like, I remember it was right after I graduated high school. I was doing research on sexuality, you know, the spectrum and everything.
Did you take the quiz that you're like...
I took like 100. I took 100 quizzes.
Even now, I still have moments where I'm like...
All right, I'm starting to
like,
starting
what
to
am
doubt
I?
my
But-
David pick, guys. I might be wrong here. Like, I might be in the wrong. He's starting to feel a lot more bi. I think he's the plant, like the one that's there to fuck you up. You know what I'm saying?
But I feel confident saying I'm bi, you know, but...
Yeah, I think it was hard for me, like I mentioned before, like more to myself than like my family or the people around me. But it was just challenging figuring that out.
I'm sorry, I have doubt on you.
Same, me too.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
So,
I'm being strategic here.
So because I voted for Sydney twice, I had to call her out in the middle of the game.
Melvin like pointed me out as being.
Yo, okay, hold on. Melvin a little sussy though, but that's also like, I don't know. That seems like. That just seems like that might be Melvin's thing. Like he likes
Being
confrontation.
suspicious. Now everyone's gonna vote for me.
Oh my god, I don't know what to ask. Like, I just...
Do you guys have like a favorite TV character, like representation who's bi?
Yeah. I would say, because I'm being called out, Alice from the L Word. I was on an episode of the L Word as an LGBT background person.
Okay.
I started the first GSA at my middle school.
Oh,
I don't know what else to do.
I think she really wants the money. No, I'm just kidding.
And she tried to defend herself, but
Well, hold on. Was she like... Was she actually an extra, though? I mean, that doesn't really mean anything for her being bi or straight or anything like that. But, like, that's cool. That's a cool thing that happened, apparently.
it was not convincing to me.
Still.
I don't want to ask okay, when is Pride Month?
Dude,
you know,
just asked her when Pride Month was, like... Okay, dude.
I'm saying, it's very simple.
Have we all been
it's
to
very
Pride?
simple.
Have we all been to Pride?
Twice and never again. I didn't like it.
Yeah, it was kind of.
I felt like I wasn't included as much.
I'm sorry. I really have a doubt on you. I'm sorry, but
I have the most honor to.
Also,
I believe you.
I feel like in this show, like they think about stereotypes. I feel like I'm very feminine, so like that would be so easy for me to just be straight.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I was suspicious of Sydney, but then there was a point where I was also suspicious of Melvin. The fact that he did go against
It's
Sydney.
how hard he's pushing that makes me a little bit suspicious. I don't know if he's just like that, or like if he real good at trying to push it to other people. I don't know. You know what? I did a confident lock on David before, and I've been talking mad shit. I'm gonna have to lock it in, even though I am a little bit unsure now. I'm locking in David.
That made me think about it a little.
You guys, I'm really telling the truth. Like,
I know,
don't mess yourself up on this.
I'm gonna be destroyed when Sydney is the liar. Destroyed.
So in round 3, I began maybe doubting myself a little bit, thinking, okay, it could be Sydney.
This is wrong.
So I was like, it's either gonna be me or Marissa. I thought the guys would like vote against the girls because 2 girls were voted out in the first 2 rounds.
I didn't really think Marissa at all.
You guys messed up. I was so sad because I really liked everyone. I trusted everyone at that point, so it sucked. But I was also expecting it.
Hold on, how was she
Everyone at
sitting?
that point.
That's a little sussy. Like, she is angled.
So it sucked, but I was also expecting
We'll have
it.
to see.
If everyone feels confident that you guys cut the mole, you guys can end the game here. Please raise your hand if you want to continue the game in 3, 2, 1.
if it's you,
Oh wait.
Don't look at my earrings.
I don't know, I'm sorry.
think about
Wait,
it.
now I'm like,
No. I'm saying like I don't want to think about
I believe
one of
both
you
of you
lying.
for sure, and you like 90%.
100% you can't be on me. That was
Okay.
the first time being cut off.
I mean, you did have a good intuition, I feel like.
If the lights turn green, that means you have voted out the mole, and you
Alright, let's see. I think they lost
If
though,
the
because it's
light
David.
turns red, that means that the mole is still in the box, and you lose.
Damn, I'm stupid. I'm bad at this.
I was so nervous in the beginning that I was gonna get voted out first, so I was so happy when I made it to the end.
Feels like
Who
I'm in
is
the
it,
right
though?
place. That's where I wanted to be.
Will the mole please step forward and reveal yourself in 3, 2, 1.
Yo, I was super wrong. I think it's just because she looks like Missy Elliott in that one video that I thought she was bi. Like, I was incredibly wrong there.
I'm not bisexual. I'm actually straight. I think a lot of people found difficulty in figuring out who was bisexual. They didn't really have a tactic. You can't really tell who's bisexual based on just looking at them or whatever. And I like men, even though I think they're trash, but.
When you left saying find the hetero.
I know, because I had to make it spicy.
To be bisexual is to just love who you want to love.
It's to be attracted
Tristan,
to male.
like, yeah, Melvin I only got suspect of because he was like, he was acting a little weird. But like, that one, yeah, I called. Tristan, I was able to
female,
call.
and they can go a little bit
But
beyond.
like,
More doors being
damn.
open. That's how I see
David-
bisexuality.
I think I just jumped on David early because he said some pretty basic stuff, and I just was like, nope, lock it in, let's go.
Oh my god. Did I throw that?
Okay. And a very, very big shift in moods here. We're going into murder now, boys.
He was a YouTuber that openly shared his strange and disturbing world. But when his mind started to avalanche into the dark, no one saw the warning signs that ultimately led to his tragic actions.
That's right. It's one of our own that went killer. We looking at you two murderers, boys.
My name is Adrian, and welcome back to Coffee House Crime.
We're looking at the next YouTube murderer, which actually I do believe, by the way. Not specifically this guy, I shouldn't say that. Not specifically this guy. But I firmly believe that one of the people running a true crime podcast, or a true crime, like serial killer podcast, or one of these true crime YouTube series, are going to kill somebody one day. I don't think it'll be like JCS or any of the bigger popular ones. I think it'll be one of the ones that are like, the person's clearly way, way more into it than they should be, and is like, there's a few of them I watched where they kind of focus a lot more on what the criminal should have done and said. And they're gonna kill somebody one day. Like I said, I firmly believe that.
Today's case is a big one, and I admit, not something that I'd usually cover, but it is my most requested case to date. And personally speaking, this has to be one of the strangest, saddest, and most avoidable scenarios that I've covered. It's time that we talk about Randy Stair. Who is he? What delusions followed him to the grave? And how did no one see the signs? P.S. If you're new to the channel, I post both solved and unsolved cases here on a weekly basis, so if that is your sort of thing, please consider subscribing to Coffee House Crime. So pull up a seat, grab a coffee, and sit back.
Coffee House Crime is actually a pretty cool channel.
Of Randy Stair.
They actually, they do a lot of, like, Japanese true crime stuff, too, which you don't see too often. And there's some crazy ones that happen in Japan, too. Like that guy that went into the middle school and, like, stabbed a bunch
Welcome
of kids.
to Pennsylvania.
Like, there's some crazy
Known
ones.
for its stunning scenery, chocolate, and of course the Philly cheesesteak, there are many indulgences found throughout the state, which is the 5th most populous in all of the USA. It's home to over 13 million residents, and 4 of them were the Stair family. Randy Stair was born on the 17th of September 1992. He later became an older brother to Jeremy, who was born on the 11th of September 1994. His father Robert and mother Lorianne were an average married couple in America, focused on raising their 2 young boys, and for the most part in their younger years...
Am I a racist? Because I think that, like, look at that, and then look up here. That looks absolutely like that kid grown up, right? Like, am I the only one that's seeing that? Alright.
Part in the younger years, things did go to plan.
You see it too? Okay, good.
But Randy was said to be a very shy kid while growing up. The same as many, he didn't like to be the centre of attention at school, and would often look away when being talked to. But more uniquely, he would prefer to be alone at all times, and always seemed lost as a child, without any full clarity. Randy was a big fan of Nickelodeon cartoon shows, and would often draw pictures of Timmy Turner and Danny Fenton in his school books. As a child, he often dreamed of being a cartoon character too. But other than a broken collarbone in 1st grade, Randy's childhood wasn't too eventful. His introverted side carried on with him into adulthood, however. Yes, he did have friends, but he never dated anyone, and he hated working in groups at school. And although it was obvious that Randy suffered from some sort of social anxiety, he was never actually diagnosed with any sort of mental condition. In June of 2008, Randy...
So many people that I'm sure you and, you know, that you've met, like, if you're a nerd who plays games, or, like, especially if you go out and go do trading card game stuff, it's fighting game tournaments, play Dungeons and Dragons, Warhammer, whatever, something where you're going out and interacting with a nerdy community, you know so many of this dude. Someone who is just, like, you know, okay, like, not the weirdest dude, but really, really socially awkward, has obviously really high social anxiety, and isn't very comfortable dealing with it, but has never been diagnosed with anything, has never gone to, like, seek help at all. And kind of just lives with it and tries to, at the very best, tries to personally improve it without, like, seeking any help whatsoever. I'm not even talking, like, chemical drugs help. I'm speaking to a professional that knows how to help you move through social anxiety as a massive, massive thing. But yeah, if you've been in a nerdy community for long enough, you know so many of this specific type of guy.
Randy launched his YouTube channel called Pioneers Productions. He'd actually had a previous channel before this, creating funny videos using movie clips, but after several copyright strikes, it was taken down indefinitely. The new Pioneers Productions channel, however, would be different. To begin with, Pioneers Productions was all about goofy comedy stints, something you'd expect from an average 15-year-old boy. And as time went on, the channel would restructure to focus on 3 main characters: Randy Stair, Froggy, and Whale. Randy had actually found Froggy in a shopping cart at Wise supermarket one day. It was dirty and smelled of cigarettes, so Randy decided to take him home and clean him, before using him as a character in comedy skits.
I don't care. I'm setting you straight even if it kills me and sets the house on fire. I'm gonna do it!
You have got to be kidding me! I'm a fucking fraud! You want me to get educated?
I've had it up to here with your attitude.
Alright, it's really weird that, like, we're watching this dude's YouTube videos, like... Really, really weird that we're watching this dude's YouTube videos.
Manners, you're...
Why is it... like... hopefully this becomes relevant at some point, is all I'm saying.
Whale was depicted as a perverted predator that liked to hit on Randy with a low voice. He would continue to create content around these two and himself for a couple of years.
You mean you still haven't told them about us?
What? No! There is no us!
In 2010, Randy got his first job working at McDonald's, but he hated it. Within 3 hours of his first shift, he quit. Randy's parents were furious. By now, Randy was 18 years old, and his parents expected him to push his own weight in the family household. So only a few months later, Randy's dad got him a job at the local Wise supermarket, where he himself was the shop's manager. Back on the YouTube side of things...
what? He got a manager job? At a super... What? No, where okay. That took a second for it to click for me. His dad was the manager, and he got him a job at the supermarket. Okay. That makes a lot more... Like, it took a second for me to click, like, I was like, what do you mean this 18-year-old just got an entry-level job as a... Or sorry, not an entry-level job, but entered a job as a manager. Like, bullshit.
It was spring in 2011 that Randy officially became a paid YouTube partner.
Hey everybody, my lifelong dream for YouTube has come true. I am officially a YouTube partner, and that is fantastic.
For a while already, he had wanted to become a filmmaker, and with monetization achieved, this propelled his ambitions.
But I just jumped up when I saw that, so my big goal is accomplished.
So on that note, he bought himself a new iMac and started to create content with other creators in his genre. It was around the same time in 2011 that Randy graduated from Dallas High School. He would now attend Luzerne County Community College for 3 years through to 2014. But it was never at the forefront of his mind. Being a fan of many cartoons throughout the years, Randy was also part of the My Little Pony fandom, or also known as a brony. He also had several other posters from Frozen, Inside Out, and The Beatles.
Oh god, this guy's a Disney fandom brony killer. That's not that surprising, actually. Like, what's really surprising to me is that the Disney fandom and brony fandoms don't have more killers in them.
He darted around YouTube for a bit, experimenting with different types of content, including gaming, and he even tried making new channels, including Pioneer's Anthology. However, nothing really stuck for Randy. And then he found Ember. Danny Phantom is an American animation TV series created by Butch Hartman for Nickelodeon. the same creator as The Fairly Odd Parents.
Oh god, Butch Hartman.
The series follows Danny Fenton,
Butch Hartman's such a scumbag.
a teenage boy who, after an accident with an unpredictable portal between the human world and the ghost zone,
Danny Phantom's
becomes a
great
human-ghost
cartoon, though.
hybrid and takes on the task of
real
saving
good.
the world. Danny Phantom was well received by both television critics and audiences, gathering a cult following since its original run in 2004.
Very fun
and
show.
one of those fans
I
was
wouldn't
Randy.
say it's like a crazy. It's definitely not one of the best cartoons I've ever watched. It is not. Like it's cereal monster of the week. I almost said cereal of the week. Monster of the week. Like what ghost you gonna deal with? Nothing crazy, but like very very fun cartoon.
And this is where we begin to see the strange and delusional world of Randy Stair. One of those characters who was eventually introduced into Danny Phantom went by the name of Ember McLean. Ember is a ghost rock star who uses music as a sonic weapon to hypnotize her enemies.
Indeed.
And while she only appeared in a few episodes,
She took
is
over,
best known for her seductive charm
She
and
took
hatred
over that
for
one
authority.
punk girl one time.
A couple songs were made for the cartoon, and once those two soundtracks were officially released to YouTube, Randy became obsessed with both Ember and the music, listening to them constantly. And despite being just a cartoon, Randy claimed that Ember was his first crush. Apparently she helped him cope with various struggles through life. In a video, he even said the following.
Okay. That is too much art. That is far too much. Very clearly commissioned from the same artist. Like, I mean, I guess it's good that he commissioned the same artist, but like that's too much commissioned artwork of a character and like of a show to have just to have in general, but two, to have hanging up behind you in a video. Like, yeah, that's rough. Like, that's far too much.
I just kept looking at her, and it's like she got it. She understood me. I understood her. We had feelings for each other, and it was way more than just a simple connection. It was life-changing. I went into a zone that I had never really been in before.
The comfort that Randy found in Ember was particularly potent in 2013. In January, Randy lost his friend Matt in a tragic car accident, and shortly after, he would lose his granddad too. In addition to both painful experiences, Randy's basement would flood, destroying a lot of his property, and shortly after, Randy himself would be in a car accident too, but lucky for him, escaping relatively unharmed. The multiple deaths that Randy witnessed led to
multiple deaths, even if in the moment you don't think it's affecting you as much as it does. It really, really does. It wasn't until years later that I really realized, like, I guess I'm still dealing with it, because I mean, I've been kind of going through a string of family deaths. But, like, it wasn't until years into the process after the second death had happened, like, years after that I finally realized, like, okay, like, this actually affected me way, way more than I thought it would, and I probably need to deal with that in, a way healthier way. I was just drinking all the time. Well, hey, that's how I dealt with it. But I need to deal with it in a more healthy way, and here I am. Like, yikes.
him into a morbid...
It's, yeah, I can't imagine, like, not having not exactly having a game plan for that kind of thing. Like, that has to be real fucked. Sorry, I'm just trying to fix this camera angle. Not angle, the camera, like, clamping. Just stop. Close. No, it's not close enough, because it has, like, a little crack, and that bugs the hell out of me. There we go.
Curiosity, wondering what death was truly like. He began to heavily analyze his thoughts of death and was unable to escape from them, even eventually enjoying those thoughts. Back to Ember. Many people, including Randy's friends, would often joke about Ember being Randy's fictional wife. Randy, though, would see it differently.
Not that. I shouldn't have said, like, I wasn't even paying attention to what the dude said until, like, after it kind of reprocessed in my head. Not that. I know that whole, like, enjoying the thought thing. Like, the whole virtual girlfriend wife thing is so cringe. It's so bad. Don't do that. Do not be this guy. Like, don't do it. It is not good for
To
your
him,
mental health.
she was his queen.
But
Why was it in 480p? There we go.
I'm this close.
Fucking
This
1080p,
close to my
60.
baby.
I paid for the internet. Let's go.
Well, Ember was my baby. She's not my baby anymore. She's my queen. Mackenzie's my baby. Mackenzie, baby!
Randy claimed that he felt spiritually connected with her.
Oh my god. Hold on, is Mackenzie like a, like, OC that he had created? Mackenzie Danny Phantom. Mackenzie Fenton. Wait, isn't Fenton the last name of, Yeah. Yeah, wait, so did he have a sister at some point in the show? I don't... Look, this wiki or whatever was way too much. I am just trying to figure out what the hell is going on here. And it literally comes up with, like, this first, dude. This absolutely has to be an OC. That's an OC. Without a doubt in my mind.
And that he actually knew Ember before his birth, as if his spirit existed in another realm before becoming human. It was through his connection with Ember that he created his own alternate universe, one that would firmly grip Randy, and ultimately, change his direction in life forever. He called his fantasy universe Ember's Ghost Squad, or EGS for short. It was a fan-made spin-off of Danny Phantom, staying true to both the artwork and the general storyline. A squad of ghosts, but this time, ones who seeked and recruited suicidal people.
Okay, that's not great. That's not great. But you'll see a lot of parallels if you ever look into like fandom culture and what a lot of fandoms will do, especially like look into Sarah Zed did a great video on the Onceler fandom, and they did shit that's exactly like this. Exactly like this. Like that's one of the big reasons that fandoms kind of creep me out, because like when you get this into something to where you're creating a bunch of OCs in your own universe, and like that's already weird enough, but it starts specifically getting into weird, dark topics, and usually with fandoms, sexual topics, it's very, very off-putting to me.
Following several years of work on Pioneers Productions and not getting very far with it at all, he decided to quit and move on to his new passion, which was to create and animate Ember's Ghost Squad. He'd do this by changing to a new YouTube channel, but before he could, he would have to end Pioneers Productions. Throughout 2014, he worked on a 5-part YouTube series that focused on killing off his two other main characters, Froggy and Whale. He did this by viciously stabbing them with a knife.
Why are you doing this?
Because she told me to.
Jesus, dude.
Perhaps the acting was a little too real for Randy though, because while filming, he would accidentally lacerate his right pinky finger, something that would require 3 surgeries to correct. His finger would remain permanently bent after surgery too, but Randy saw this as a good thing. It meant that he could now work night shifts at the local supermarket, and with that extra time, he could animate.
Like he was stabbing something with it that he was holding in his hand. Like I can literally see how he would have done that too, because he had his hand wrapped around it and he stabbed down like that. He went through and into his pinky, guaranteed. Like, is an idiot who has cut himself many a time accidentally working at camping sites and like just working on random shit where I'm using a knife. That's what happened.
More. On the 12th of January 2015, Randy posted his last video to Pioneers Productions. In this video, he reimagines himself playing Call of Duty when Ember appears in front of him. The two converse about their connection and how she has had a profound impact on his life. He takes a box containing Froggy and Whale outside, and then proceeds to burn the box. Metaphorically, this shows the end to his past. After returning home, still in the movie, he then talks to Ember briefly before telling her that he is ready. He then pretends to take a gun to his head and ends his own life. And with his old YouTube channel now officially out the way, he could focus on his new passion, animating Ember's Ghost Squad. From this point onwards, he would also call himself Andrew Blaze.
So
he actually hated his official birth name, Randy Stair.
Well, that's because Randy Stair is a weird-ass name, dude. Really weird name. Like, that kind of sounds like a YouTube name in the first place. But, like, so, I mean, he knew he would get a cease and desist, right? Like, even if this kicked off and he somehow managed to get an animated series where he was, actually animating, storyboarding, and everything was good, people liked it, and it got popular, he knows he has to have known he would get a cease and desist without a doubt, dude. Like, no way.
We're moving forward by a year to January 2016. After posting his final video to Pionist Productions 12 months prior, Randy's life continued to fall inward. With the old YouTube channel now finished, he had more time to learn animation, and more time to obsess over Ember. He was also becoming more evil-minded and edgy. Through a new video that he titled Abyss, he shared his dark thoughts about the world, challenging his viewers to look into the abyss and to find their true selves.
What's that wallpaper?
How well do you really know yourself? I want you to try something. Go to the mirror. Just stand there for a little while. Just staring at yourself. Do you recognize that person staring back at you?
If you don't, you need some help, bud.
You might think you do. I can guarantee you that more likely than not, you do truly not understand that person staring back at you.
It is clear that by the point this video was taken, Randy had spiraled into a new level of delusion.
Yeah.
Psychosis and anger.
Like, this is... I've never, heard of this kid or anything. Like, this is a... With how well documented this was, I mean, he was putting all these videos up and stuff. This seems like a very, very because I do know what he did. And what he did is terrible and seems to have been, at least at this point, pretty preventable. Like, and I'm not even talking from, him not being the dude who does it, side. But from people outside who had to have been seeing this happen, it seems like something that should have clicked there. I don't know, maybe, but also it's very, very possible that his, parents never saw any of the YouTube videos or anything like that, so they didn't specifically know about, the delusions with Ember and stuff like that, but they still should have been able to know, one, he worked at the same store as his dad, and they still lived together. They should have been able to recognize at least a bit of a change in behavior.
He describes how psychiatrists and scientists would never be able to understand him, and that he was special. He then proceeds to talk about a woman that he's been seeing, and how she has helped him see the way. And if it isn't obvious, the woman he is talking about is Ember. He concludes how things have been changing him over the last couple years, and now he has discovered who he truly is. After Randy became obsessed with death, he started to see the afterlife as a magical place where anyone could do anything they wanted. He believed that everyone receives a soul contract to do something in life, and that they die after they accomplish it. And it is this thought that led Randy to think that he was meant to die, so that he could be with Ember in the afterlife. Although he was the actual creator of EGS, Randy believed that EGS...
That's an insane, it's... How should I put this? I feel like there's a link between how people view the afterlife and specifically like American Western Christian values, well, not values, and like not values, how they interpreted their afterlife and their heaven, hell, things like that. Because the view that a lot of people have is this world of like, you get your, it's paradise. It's whatever paradise means to you is what is up there, is what a lot of the Western, at least American Western, like, thought process has been on it. This is that, but like to an extremity of creating his own rule system within it, and that also that the world he created in the real world, well, the world he created in the animation in the real world was actually real in the afterlife. Like that's essentially taking that same type of belief and then adding a mental illness to the mix.
Yes, was real, and once he died, he would resurrect as a female spirit to join them. Although Randy's depression had been getting worse since 2013, it was now noticeably much more dire. He was now seeing death as the best outcome for his future, and even worse, he now believed it was his fate to die, so that he could join the other ghosts in the EGS universe. Although Ember's Ghost Squad never really became popular outside of Randy's direct sphere of influence, he continued to develop his alternate reality. He even played his fantasies out in real life, making Twitter profiles for the 8 main EGS characters he created.
That's another thing you'll see fandom people do a lot too, is where they'll be running like 10 different accounts with these different names on them, and all replying to each other and retweeting each other and stuff like that.
All of them talking to each other frequently, when, in reality, it was Randy himself pulling all the strings. Randy had tirelessly worked on his EGS animations for years, doing almost the entire thing by himself. This excluded the times he paid several $100s to voice actresses to cover some of the female character voices. He had actually created not just one, but several animated episodes to Ember's Ghost Squad. And although he really wanted to share his work to a larger audience, no one was actually interested in what he was doing. He had in fact even concerned some of his fans with the excessive violence and morbid themes found throughout his episodes. Nobody ever actually reported his increasingly concerning behaviour to authorities either. When people asked Randy himself why he was being so violent, he would just reply by saying, "This is me just acting." And little did anyone know that, despite the already twisted and delusional world of Randy Stair, things were about to get a lot worse.
I feel like he's bearing the lead here a little bit, right? Like, what were these videos? Are they still up? Does this stuff still exist? Oh, holy shit, there's a re-upload channel. 22 videos? No way he made 22 videos. Blooper and outtakes, The Legend of Booker Swamp, Andrew and Rachel, The Perfect Storm of Inescapable Chaos. Oh god, these are like hour long, 46 minutes. Some of these are 5, like. That's okay. We might have to deep dive some of this at some point, I guess.
Okay, so here's the deal. Got a 1983 quarter right here. You believe in fate? Here's the fate test. I'm gonna flip this 3 times, or the best out of 3 rather, and if it's heads, I'll do it here. If it's tails, supermarket.
In April of 2017,
Yikes.
Randy filmed himself challenging his own fate.
Literally on a coin flip. Oh my god. Oh wow. If you all knew what he did after that, like, ooh, wow, that's really bad. What happens after this to have just all happened off of a coin flip is really disgusting. He didn't even believe... I don't want to spoil anything. But, like, I thought he would have at least believed that he needed to do what he did to ascend to cartoon world or whatever. But, like, it was literally just up in the air about where he was going to off himself. That's insane. Oh my god.
By now, he had decided that he wanted to die. But how he was going to do it wasn't yet known. He therefore decided to flip a coin to determine whether it would involve him doing it on his own, or taking other people down with him. It was the best out of 3, and with 2 tails to 2 heads, the final coin toss would decide it all.
That is a tails, folks. Tails. Which means there's going to be a loss of a human life, besides my own.
At the time of this recording, Randy had already bought himself a Mossberg 500 shotgun. Well, actually, he'd received it from his mother, and he called the gun Rachel, after one of his EGS characters. And now with the coin being so-called Fate, he decided...
Okay, so not only did they not notice this change in behavior at all, change in what, like, any of that, while they still lived together, he worked in the same place as his dad, but his mom literally gave him the shotgun. Like, I really, really hope that she'd given that to him years before that, but it sounds like that's not the case.
Decided to buy himself a second shotgun of the same type. This time he called it Mackenzie, again after another EGS character. For those of you that are gun savvy, you would know that the Mossberg 500 shotgun was the same one used in the Columbine shootings. And if it isn't obvious in me saying that, yes, Randy did become obsessed with both the Columbine shooters. He also vented his frustrations with the world, and the everyday stresses with life. Eventually he even resorted into homophobic and racist remarks. He firmly believed that the 2 killers were victimized, and even became sympathetic towards them. And this flip of fate? It sealed his desire to follow their same path. From here on out, Randy's plans and the ominous trail of clues he'd leave behind him would rapidly grow over time. He posted several videos of him firing at bottles of water on a firing range. He made written journals covering his extremist thoughts and plans. He even created natural selection shirts, imitating the same one that one of the Columbine killers, Eric, wore. And the wider-reaching, more subtle hints had been going on for months too. In April 2017, he posted this piece of self-created artwork to DeviantArt, an online art-sharing platform.
He also watched a lot of... That's kind of standard. Like, that's kind of standard DeviantArt shit, though. Like, if you reported everything that looked like that on DeviantArt, literally every post on DeviantArt that's not porn would be reported.
Documentaries on spree killers and discussed them on online forums,
porn or a Sonic
and openly expressed his desire to see a full version of the Columbine basement tapes, a log of personal thoughts and attack plans that they created. And day by day, clue by clue, his delusional plans to attack his own supermarket solidified. Randy also created a large digital folder full of suicide tapes that he stored on Mediafire, where he opened up about his hatred and disgust to the world and various parts of it. Over 10 hours of video was recorded in just under 2 weeks, and to summarise it all for you, the main things that he talked about was his depression, his anger and plans to attack the supermarket, and of course Ember and his animation. In a video created on the 1st of June 2017, Randy talks about how much he hated his father, before rambling about how much he hated having to work to earn money.
Hey, you and me both,
just
buddy.
Became this evil, dark ghoul.
Like,
the warning.
Working to own money is bullshit. Money is bullshit. Kid, you should have sought help, and became an insufferable socialist like me.
Signs were always there. They were there from the beginning. It's the truth. It's the honest to goddess truth. And you heard me right. I said goddess. I didn't say God. I said goddess. But I don't believe in god. I believe in a goddess, which is Ember. Dad can drop f***ing dead. I'm your f***ing kid and you don't know anything about me. You don't know how I truly feel about anything, and I can't tell you that stuff. And then all he f***ing seemed to care about was, like, me getting a full-time job and making money and then trying to move out of the f***ing house and start my own life and all this shit, which I knew I was never gonna do. I don't see why it was such a big f***ing deal, because I was still part-time at the store. I was still making money, you f***ing whore. I was making f***ing money. I wasn't just sitting around doing nothing. I was virtually full-time at the f***ing store as a part-time f***ing worker, you damn. And you make it out to be like I wasn't doing anything with my f***ing life. Kiss my f***ing ass. All that was on my mind anymore were girls. And girls and girls and girls. I could not get girls off my mind. And the whole cartoon channel is girls. Dead girls. And in the squad, like myself, there are people who were guys on Earth that become girls in the Ghost Squad, which is where I'm going. But it's all girls.
On the 3rd of June, Randy recorded one final spoken video called Goodbye Eggs.
Like, yeah, this is... I mean... Yikes. Like, that entire video, like, that note there, I mean, essentially a suicide note there. Or a murder note. I don't even know how you want to put it. A murder note? Like, murder-suicide note? Like, was obviously a huge, huge cry for help. And statement of intent. And I mean, it kind of reinforces that thing where I was like, how did you work with your son and not know that, like, notice these changes happening and stuff like that? It sounds like he wasn't in... I mean, I'm not going to take everything he says at face value, because obviously it's... One, it's a guy who decided to commit murder. And two, like... How should I put this? He's not in the best of mental states. So the way things have been colorized might be a bit different.
This would be the last time he spoke directly to the camera.
Brings back memories, doesn't it? What happened? Whoever would have thought that a cartoon character would cause this to happen? Yeah, it's all thanks to Ember. Ember changed everything. It all goes back to her. She's more than just a cartoon. Let me tell you. I'm gonna be dead before next week ends. I'll be dead. Legit dead. Thank you for all the late nights. Thank you for all the live streams. Thank you for all of your support, all of your feedback, no matter how good or bad it was. And I hope I've helped make a difference for you. And sadly, I'll never know all the lives I've touched, all the lives I've changed. Helped change, rather.
Okay. That was straight. Like, why did he do that? Hold on.
And I hope I've helped make a difference for you.
The guy who's making, like, I'm talking about the guy who's making this video on this.
Sadly, I'll never know all the lives I've touched. All the lives.
Like, why'd you put up a what there? Like, this is a dude's video he's making before a suicide and murder, where he's been having delusions where a ghost is telling him to kill himself so he can be with her in the afterlife. And, like, be a member of the Ghost Squad that he created. Like, obviously, this dude is not stable mentally and is dealing with a whole lot. Like, not making excuses here or anything, but it is kind of ridiculous to me that you wouldn't be able to at least wrap your head around somebody caring about their fan base, you know, caring about the people who had watched their content, and being conflicted as he's going through this motion for about to commit something terrible that's terrible against other people. Like, those are they conflict, sure, but those are you should be able to wrap your head around both existing inside of a person. Like,
As I've changed. Helped change, rather.
especially a person who's this mentally
I'll never
disturbed.
know.
You know what I mean?
I won't. Alright. This is Andrew Blaze, signing off for the last time. I'll see some of you soon. Andrew, out.
Is this footage
On the
inside
night
of the
before his
real
planned attack,
supermarket?
Randy then took a recorded video of the supermarket, analysing the store's exit points.
Well, he
The
worked
aisles
there,
were
he
clean,
knows.
boxes tucked away. Food products neatly lined the shelves. It was late at night, and the store was ominously quiet. That quietness, though, wouldn't last. At approximately 11 PM on the evening of the 7th of June 2017, Randy arrived for his night shift at Wise Supermarket. He went to the back of the store to the staff area and blocked an emergency exit with his car. He then continued with his duties, stocking store shelves and cleaning. At 11:19 PM, Randy uploaded what would be his final animated video to YouTube. It was a half-cut 42-minute EGS animation that he created, depicting his characters and himself attacking Westboro High School. He even reached out for help to several animators and voice actresses, but due to its graphic nature,
no
all of
one
those
would do
requests would be rejected or remain unanswered. Randy was furious when he had to work on the project alone.
To Green, showing his side, didn't even matter. To all the worthless people involved in this video in general, make you feel like it didn't even matter. To everyone who agreed to help in general, made me feel like it didn't even matter. To the fans who will appreciate what I managed to get done in 5 months completely on my own, thank you. There are going to be some missing shots left unfinished in this video with animatics in place of the black holes due to 0 of the 10 plus animators who I'm reached out to, even lifting a finger to help out. Yeah, Bro, the animators weren't going to animate a school shooting. Like, yeah, they didn't want to help you.
And since he'd lost...
Honestly, there's so many failure points here. Like, there are so many people who should have contacted the police. If somebody contacts you for commission work to animate a school shooting, you need to contact the police. Absolutely.
Nearly all motivation to live, he didn't fully complete the animation either, leaving several scenes as sketches. At 12:10 AM, he tweeted links to multiple files and videos which detailed his plans and suicide notes. Randy then proceeded to discreetly block the store's remaining exits with wooden pallets, and locked the automatic doors at the main entrance of the store. He then armed himself with 2 shotguns, wearing a t-shirt with the phrase, "It's our time to rise," on the front. Randy then
God damn
walked...
it, dude. He was wearing like a Gamers Rise Up shirt. Oh my god. This is so painfully YouTube. Like, this kid is painful. Look at him. This is painfully twitching YouTube. This is like, you know this kid. I mean, you don't know him, but you know a person that's like this. Like, if you're a nerd online, you know a person that kind of looks like this kid, is nowhere near this far gone at all, but has the social anxiety, does the Gamers Rise Up stuff, like, all that kind of stuff. It is really, really into, like, you know, I mean, usually not Danny Phantom, it's like Ben 10 or some shit, but something like to that nature, you know what I mean? You know that kid. Like, it's so incredibly online
throughout
that, like,
the store,
it's
shooting
kind of
3 of his
insane.
co-workers,
It
of which all
feels almost
3
fake, you know?
would tragically
Obviously
be
it's
killed.
not, but
He then approached the 4th and final co-worker, Christian Newell. She was actually listening to music through her headphones, and had not heard the horror unfolding around her. Undisclosed CCTV footage described Randy standing behind her for 5 seconds, before turning around and sparing her life, walking to the next aisle.
Whoa.
He then continued to shoot merchandise all around the store. It was around this time that Kristen took her headphones off and realised what was going on after hearing the gunshots. She decided to sprint to the staff room to call 911, and along the way, she would unfortunately see her colleagues dead on the floor. She would successfully get to that staff room and call the police. Not that it mattered, however, because in that time, Randy had gone to the deli section of the store, sat down, put the shotgun in his mouth, and ended his own life. Police with their station located.
Because I read into this, I read the person's name before I choose if I'll do a reaction to it, see if it's even a good case at all. I didn't know that it was at night and that it was other employee. I don't know, for some reason that's worse to me. He blocked up all the doors and killed other people he was working with. That's so fucked. I thought that he showed up just in the middle of the day with guns and started shooting, you know what I mean? I didn't think it was this planned, he went and made sure people were comfortable while he was by fucking stocking the shelves and everything before he did it. Wow.
Just down the road from the supermarket would arrive only minutes later. And there they would find the bodies of Randy and his 3 victims. Victoria Todd Brong was an assistant tag manager at the store. She was 25 years old, a graduate of Tunkhannock High School, who loved helping people, and was known to be a caring, loving individual. She leaves behind a young son, her partner,
Is the rest
and
of
her
this
family.
just fucking... I'm sorry, I don't need to
Had a few
hear
years of laughter.
I don't want to hear the victim testimony, or not the victim testimonies, but the family's testimonies of the victim. No.
Please get help. Please don't hurt yourself and others. It's sickening and sad at the same time. And this very much sets the tone of my final message to this case. While Randy was psychotic and clearly experienced a prolonged detachment to reality, he by all means was aware of what he was doing. Although he believed that ultimately he would join his self-created cartoon world in the afterlife, he knew the profound consequence that he would have in his own actions. Planning and scheming the demise of his victims for weeks, while also rationalising his decisions through his video logs, proves a stark lack of empathy to others. Randy was deluded, psychotic, narcissistic, apathetic, childish. But above all else, he needed help. Help that was never addressed. And ultimately, it would be the family and friends of his 3 victims
that's the part
that would
that's
have
so
to pay the
wild to me.
price.
Like
Victoria Brong, Brian Hayes,
I don't see
and Terry Sterling.
I don't see how nobody ever like tried to intervene with him, like especially his parents. That's so fucked. Ah, boy. Okay. I'll tell you what. I need to use the restroom really badly. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna throw up a Tier Zoo video while I go to the bathroom and then go out for a quick smoke. And then I will be back and we'll play some video games. Here's a bird tier list.
The trade-off, of course, is that a broken bone not only deals serious damage, but also potentially reduces the player's maximum stamina by a huge margin. So a bird player will need all of the blunt damage defense it can get. And speaking of blunt damage, the bird's lower bone density means the bird's own blunt force strikes, like wing attacks, also deal reduced damage. The top tier bird builds are the ones that can best capitalize on the strengths of their class while mitigating potential weaknesses. That about covers the basics, so let's get into the tier list. At the bottom of the tier list we have 2 flightless bird builds, both with essentially the same glaring weakness. These are the Kiwi and Kakapo. Kiwis are hilariously part of the same faction as ostriches, emus, and cassowaries. For some reason they opted to give up the flight ability, but didn't use the extra available skill points to spec into gigantism like the rest of their squad did. The result is a build that can literally only exist on island servers where there is no active mammal player base, aka New Zealand. The Kakapo is a flightless version of the Parrot, and although parrots are undoubtedly excellent bird builds, the flightless weakness is too glaring to ignore. Due to invasive species like rats and cats establishing a presence on island servers, both of these flightless bird builds are seeing major declines in their player base, and I would not be surprised if they all ended up switching mains. Flight is just too strong an ability to pass up, which brings me to the next builds on my tier list. So I see what these builds were going for. Being giant could potentially make up for the lack of flight, but in practice this didn't quite pan out. While these are technically the strongest birds in terms of base power and defensive stats, for their weight class they are woefully underpowered. They're one of the few megafauna builds that can be taken down by cheetahs, when they should be able to completely annihilate cheetahs with their powerful claws. Their huge weak point presents a lot of opportunity for counterattack too, so if they ever get too bold, they're setting themselves up for a tough loss. Lastly, the fact that they are forced to nest on the ground forces them into an even more vulnerable position than most birds, as ratite eggs are extremely valuable as loot. Objective defense is not an easy task even for high-tier builds, so for ostriches, emus, and cassowaries, this is a huge hurdle. Next on the tier list we have the hummingbird. This build spec'd purely into mobility and just about nothing else, and as a result is the only bird build with full 360-degree movement, similar to a dragonfly. This, combined with its extremely small size, enables the hummingbird to very quickly change direction mid-flight, allowing it to easily dodge attacks and fly around obstacles. More importantly, it allows the hummingbird to access nectar, which is an extremely valuable source of energy that's normally inaccessible to birds, since birds are usually too heavy to land on flowers and not agile enough to access nectar mid-flight. This all sounds great, but the hummingbird also has two very serious weaknesses. The first is pretty obvious. They have no combat prowess at all, and any attack they fail to dodge will send them right back to the character select screen. But in addition to that, the insane energy cost of their flight ability, combined with their total lack of fat storage, means hummingbirds will run out of stamina very quickly if they can't constantly find food. To me, this is a high-risk, high-reward strategy where the risk far outweighs the reward, so I have to place them in F tier. At the bottom of D tier, we have the pigeon. The pigeon build doesn't really have any critical flaws, but they're held back by mediocre stats. In particular, the pigeon is sorely lacking in any combat-focused stat, like power or defense. They do best in cities where their excellent navigation ability grants them an extra bit of safety, by nesting among high-rises in loot-rich locations. But even in cities, pigeon players tend to be the main source of XP for higher-tier predators. Plus, if you're just looking to play a bird build that's good at looting cities, there are better options available anyway. The peacock build is another generally understated build, with high HP but little else to rely on. It does, however, have one of the highest intimidation proficiency bonuses in the game, gaining a massive buff to all intimidation checks when its Eye Spot Feather ability is activated. As impressive as this ability is, the peacock's actual attacks do very little damage, so any player able to resist being frightened will have a pretty easy win. The peacock's diamatic display also blocks vision behind itself, making a stealth approach by a third-party attacker extremely easy. And while they can escape by flying, the feathers of a peacock are so heavy that getting airborne takes a bit longer than most birds, which can be the difference between dodging or dying when under attack. The flamingo is a bit of an AFK class. Very minimal skill is actually required to pilot this build. They opted to spec into the filter feeding ability, meaning all they really need to do to gain experience and progress their character is pick a random spot in the lake bed and start digging around with their beak, scoring free wins against things like snails and shrimp. However, when faced with a challenge from any player anywhere near its size, this build totally falls apart. They rely on water to impede the approach of predators in order to give them time to escape when attacked. However, this doesn't always work. Their pathetic defensive stats mean they go down in 1 or 2 hits, and their slow flight startup means that oftentimes players will have time to rush them down even when they're in the water. This is an easy build to rack up a bunch of experience with, but also a very easy build to defeat if you know their weaknesses. The humble chicken, often compared to the T-Rex to exemplify how far the dinosaur faction has fallen. While I disagree with the implication, I don't disagree that chickens are indeed a low-tier build. While they aren't anywhere near as totally helpless as the kiwi or kakapo, they're still a barely average statted bird that lacks the ability to fly for any extended distance. They can certainly hold their own against most similarly sized opponents, but with poor escape options and no unique abilities, this build faces an uphill battle against most opponents. Well, okay, I shouldn't say no unique abilities, but to be honest, their fast respawn rate kinda backfired on them due to humans using the factory farming strategy. Next in C tier we have the Vulture build, the tankiest variant of the Raptor subclass. A good tank build needs to be able to accomplish two things. The first is area denial, which Vultures do quite well. A few of them can easily lock down a carcass, one of the most contested points of interest you'll ever see on the map. They can do this because of their large size and acidic projectile attack. The other thing a tank must be good at is shrugging off hits, and this is where Vultures fall short. Their thick feathers easily shield them completely from smaller attacks, but because of their hollow bones, blunt fours can easily crush their defenses and take them down in only a hit or two. So while they can defend a carcass from hordes of smaller scavengers, they don't have much counterplay towards bigger, more aggressive brawlers.
The command post is now under hostile control.
The Woodpecker build spent the bulk of their evolution points optimizing and perfecting the peck attack, both in power and efficiency, with one goal in mind: to be able to hit insect players through cover. Burrowing is one of the safest, most effective ways insect players can avoid combat. But the Woodpecker absolutely demolishes this strategy. One of the main advantages of this strategy is that having a powerful beak that's highly effective at drilling through wood also just means you've got a super sharp beak that's highly effective as a general purpose weapon. One of the main disadvantages of this strategy is that pecking at wood gives the Woodpecker's location away, alerting more powerful predators to its presence while it's in the middle of pecking and is distracted. One particular Woodpecker build, the Toucan, opted to spec into more bulk and an even more powerful beak, which, while less useful for attacking insects through the wood, is still extremely powerful for PvP. All in all, interesting strategy. By no means flawless, but definitely has some solid strengths. So, I know I've been pretty hard on flightless birds up until now, so you might be surprised to see me rate penguins as upper mid-tier rather than low tier. The difference is, penguins actually swapped out their wings for an arguably equally viable alternative, flippers, which essentially allow them to fly through the water with incredible agility. This gives them a downright broken matchup against fish. However, this strategy is pretty much only viable on servers where there are no land-based predators that penguins would still need to worry about. So if for whatever reason a few polar bears ever spawn in the Antarctic server, it's kind of game over for that entire build. The predators they have to contend with in the water are even more dangerous, and while their agility does help them dodge attacks, ultimately it's still a totally one-sided matchup. Their strategy is pretty cool and actually fairly dominant due to limited competition, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the entire penguin player base collapse if the devs ever add new DLC in the form of an Antarctic land predator, or even if they just buff the land mobility of the leopard seal. Still, top of C tier is a respectable position for a flightless bird. At the bottom of B tier we have the goose. I've got an entire video dedicated to the goose build, but in short, the goose has solid base stats, including above average hit points. However, its abysmal power stat leads it to rely heavily on intimidation to secure territory. This can be unbelievably effective at times, and it's not uncommon to see top tier predators flee an encounter that they easily could have won. Still, the obvious flaw in this strategy is that if the goose's opponent resists being frightened, the goose will be wide open to a punishing counterattack. In addition, the goose's weak spot is easily exploitable by intelligent players, so careless aggression tends to be the goose's biggest strength and biggest weakness at the same time. All in all, still a surprisingly effective strategy. The Heron build put a huge amount of evolution points into maxing out the puncture damage it can deal with its beak, and it did so to great success. Herons have one of the highest damage pecks of any bird, and frequently one-hit their targets, even those with scale armor like large fish and juvenile crocodiles. The effectiveness of their piercing attack is amplified by their long neck, which gives their attacks a deceptively long range, giving their strikes an almost cobra-like flash to them. They have downright oppressive matchups against fish, amphibians, and all other small aquatic builds. One vulnerability they do have is that their flight ability has a lot of startup, making it a bit less reliable as an escape option if they do happen to get ambushed. Still, it's certainly not terrible. Another weakness is that their long neck presents a bit of a weak point, making lunging forward with repeated pecking attacks a bit risky if you get too predictable about it. Good players will be able to punish careless lunges quite hard. In high B tier, we have the Falcon, a raptor build that opts to defeat its opponents using speed and superior maneuvering rather than actual power. Falcons actually have a below average power stat for a raptor, and don't deal particularly high damage in close combat. Their talons are pretty small compared to hawks, owls, and eagles, and so instead of slashing and stabbing with their claws, Falcons actually punch with their feet to disorient or concuss their target, and then finish the fight with their more powerful beak. In the right situation, this can deal absolutely massive damage, enough to one-shot a mid-sized target at full HP. The drawback of this strategy is that Falcons can only dish out high damage when they have the time to build up speed first. This makes the Falcon a pretty poor defender for objective game modes, and means the Falcon can struggle to win fights if its first attack doesn't connect, as follow-up attacks will likely not have the same force built up as the first. Still, the burst damage potential of this build cannot be ignored, so it earns its spot in high B tier. This might seem like an odd inclusion to cap off B tier, but songbirds are a highly efficient build for their size, and do deserve recognition on this tier list. This is a huge group including finches, starlings, sparrows, wrens, and birds of paradise. And while some are flashier than others, they all have relatively similar stats, with extremely high agility being their core stat. Unlike many of the builds lower on the tier list that have difficulty getting themselves airborne quickly, songbirds have extremely low startup on their flight move, allowing them to reposition themselves easily and quickly. This makes their approach very difficult to punish, making songbirds excellent at chipping away at defensive players, and makes them great at stealing loot from slower builds.
Yoink.
Their safety in numbers strategy can actually be somewhat intimidating and disorienting too, making it rather difficult to attack a party of songbirds mid-flight. While they certainly aren't invincible, having one of the lower HP stats among birds, they're an often overlooked but undoubtedly successful bird build. At the bottom of A tier we have the Swan. The Swan is essentially a goose that has the power stat to actually back up its attempts to intimidate. The wing attacks that most bird players use do very little damage and aren't very useful aside from pushing other players around. The Swan's wing attack can break bones and concuss foes. Because of this, Swans are one of the best builds at controlling important points of interest, as their hyper-aggressive playstyle can result in huge territory gains. Of course, they do have the same weaknesses as geese, so targeting the Swan's neck with an attack can defuse the threat. But this is a bit riskier of a play against a Swan than against a goose. All around, sturdy defender, definitely A tier. Next in A tier we have the Owl, the Avian faction's premier stealth assassin build. It owes this reputation to its special ability, which allows it to fly completely silently. This makes the Owl's strikes very difficult to defend against, as players just about never see them coming. While not as stacked in the power department as their daytime counterparts, Owls do have quite solid base stats. While they aren't likely to one-shot high HP targets, they do have enough force behind their attacks to be able to defend themselves and their territory, even from powerful
Didn't realize
enemies.
I hadn't unmuted
In addition to granting the Owl...
Whoops. I guess that would help. Just changing my title up and then we'll go ahead and get swapped over to Phantom Abyss here.
The Silent Flight perk, the Owl's thick, bushy feathers offer additional defense against attacks, enabling it to stand its ground in important objective defense scenarios. Interestingly, the Silent Flight perk did come at the cost of the waterproof ability that most bird feathers have, meaning that falling into the water or getting caught in a rainstorm can actually disable the Owl's flight ability. A pretty unique weakness, and certainly something that can be played around,
Yes,
but
I still use
interesting
an Xbox
nonetheless.
360 controller.
In the middle of A tier, we
I
have
went
the
to
Eagle.
like my PS4 controller broke a long time ago, and I was just using my roommate's PS4 anyway. Long story. But so like my personal PS4 controller, I didn't see a reason on replacing for as much as it cost. I just wanted something to use on my use when I was playing on PC. So I came to this. Just 1 second, we kind of go ahead and get this to launch. Well, this isn't launching as quickly as it usually does. Probably has something to do with like 30% of my CPU getting used by a recording and streaming software. Seriously? Come on. Usually launch just fine. There was an update recently. Okay, we're in now. I was gonna say, did the update they did break the game? Have one chance to reclaim your... Oh, is it just like loading me straight into a into the game? Because I haven't tried this with a controller yet before. I was hoping to get a practice, like jump around. Okay, cool. As I say, I was hoping to jump around and practice a bit. Get my whipping going. Why is it running like this? Usually run just fine. Hold on. Let's turn this. Let me turn down to just like low, just for stream's sake. See if that helps at all. Windowed full screen. Apply settings. Can I see what the controls are in here? Okay, so jump, crouch, run, interact as X. Okay, what's your whip then? Oh, it's just left trigger and right trigger. That actually is pretty good, okay. Actually, okay, that's pretty good. I like that. I like that. That's decent. I run way more high-intense games, like... Go ahead and stream them. What's your problem? We'll turn down the FOV by a little bit, I guess. And turn the FPS cap down to, like... Is there not a number on that, really? Alright. We're going to assume this is increments of 10. So, like, 40... 50, 60. That's a little bit better. Okay. Yeah, I've literally, like, I've streamed a Mountain Blade while there's, like, 800 individual units fighting each other in Tropico 6 while there's, like, thousands of individual civilians moving. Like, and I wasn't even hitting nearly my, the current RAM, GPU, or CPU usage I was then, so this shouldn't be running choppy like this. Early access games, man. What can you do? Hey, treasure. Usually there's some phantoms around, too. I wonder if nobody's died on this level yet. Oh, God. I almost came first. No money, really? Okay. Rude. I didn't start any... Is there no music? Do I have it turned off at some point? No, I have it on. There's just no music. Never noticed that before because I always watch videos or something while I play. Let me kill out this run and then I'll put on some like streams or something. I'm gonna have to like just grab a... At some point I'm gonna have to build another PC that just streams, like, because I can't play like this. This is so choppy. There's no reason for it to be this choppy either. Like, I'm literally only sitting like 40% of my resource usage on CPU to 20. Sorry, no. 80% on my GPU and like 40% of my RAM. It's nothing. It is nothing. And I have like a lot more programs open. I have no idea why it's doing this. Man, if I had that long whip, I might be able to get a, if I jump here, yep, there we go. Oh, okay, it's not the jump button, it's the roll button. Remember that. Yeah, I rolled that time. Oh god, these things fall on you. Okay. That was dangerous. Well, fuck that. We're going this way. Alright, you ready? Pro gamer. Ooh, shit. Okay, I was gonna say, I feel like the other way is the right way to go, so where's the money at? Oh, God. Okay, I can't believe I managed to get to an upgrade, much less with only losing half a heart with this kind of lag. Faster. Yeah, that whip does come out really fast now. That's cool. Huh. That's not great. Oh god, nope, dead, dead, dead. There has to be a closer way to do that. Oh, I'm dumb. There is a much closer way to do that. That's weird, you can fake a jump. I've never seen a small chest before. I've only seen medium chests in this game. Interesting. Wait. Shit! Meant to do that. Wanted to add tension. Here. Oh god. Okay, not enough time for me to look around the place. Okay, what's the exit? Where's the exit? Where's the exit? Shit. I escaped myself. Okay, I'm back at the entrance. Keep pushing. Where's the exit? Where's the exit? Oh, it's because I wasn't reaching. Damn it. I killed. Oh, I didn't. I got that. Wow. I thought that going back this way was like increasing. This game is a lot to me like if you take Fall Guys and Legends of the Hidden Temple and some stuff and mix it I mean, I've seen people do worse under much better playing conditions, so I won't even complain. I'm not doing that bad. I am gonna complain that they put another one of these shrines here where I don't have money. Oh, hey, money. Is it enough? It's gonna be one short, isn't it? Nope, it's just enough. Always do a bonus heart because that means you heal one while you get extra. What is that? Oh, I got the blue key. Oh no, it's another green key. Okay. If we find a green door, we can open it. Oh god. Is there no reason to go through that room? I don't know why anymore. What's up here? It's usually you're heading down in the temple, so like heading up, interesting. Oh, chest. There wasn't really much of a challenge to that one either. It was just run up this long ramp that's annoying. Another chest? No, it's just, okay. Oh, you could path around where that was and come this way. That makes sense. Keep pushing, keep pushing. You don't even care about spikes. You don't even care about arrows. You're just... Ugh. I have no idea how none of this has hit me. And by all accounts, I should have been skewered a couple of times by now. Oh my god, I can't believe I made it out of that. I mean, all according to my master. Oh, hey. Oh, glad. We're just gonna keep going down. I can't deal with a more difficult path right now. Okay, that's just death down there. That's the path forward. Okay. Yeah. Oh, bunch of money. Actually, don't ever do what I just did, because sometimes those poison gas. There's gotta be more money over there, right? Well, let's be smart and see. Oh, there's gotta be a bunch of money over there. Maybe even a good key. Shit, 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 shit. Okay, I shouldn't be going this far. This feels like it's a real path. What's with the red door, then? Interesting. Oh, there's a key. This is the path forward, okay. There's a key over here. This is definitely the path forward. Why'd I do that? I knew it was gonna spawn. Hello? No, let me down. I guess we just need to survive to the next shrine and get one then, because we can't go back. Also, I won't ever know what was in that red door. Oh shit, okay. This looks non-ideal. Just happened. I've never done that before. Oh my god, you have to go through both paths and light both of these up to, oh my god, that's so shitty. Oh no. Well, at least we're at the shrine then. Oh, a double jump. I'll do a double jump. Yeah, it's pretty good. It doesn't get you any height, but it just gets you extra distance. It could be invaluable for stuff like that. Oh, are you still chasing me? Give me my money. Give me my money. Give me my money. Give me my money. Money out. That's a bunch of spikes. Oh boy. Okay, you can come at me from that direction, so that's fine. Absolutely fine. spinnies. Okay, no spinnies. Let's just go. Shit. I thought the double jump would clear me. That was stupid. Should have taken that. Okay, got both of them. Ooh. I don't think I've ever gotten this far before. Okay. Okay, at least Homeboy isn't still following me. How do I proceed? Like, what, do those fall when I touch them? What? No? Okay. Is this just like, don't die while you're getting while you're getting your rewards time? Because this seems like the perfect place for me to die like an idiot. I do this all very safely. No relying on my own skill. Oh god, never mind, that wasn't safe at all. This is much more safe. What was I thinking? Okay. Now what we're gonna need to do is pull a pro move. What we're gonna do is hit that. Oh, I could probably just reach this if I jump. Never mind. I was gonna try to hit an extra pole and shit. No, I just cleared a dungeon. I just cleared a dungeon. If you don't know how Phantom Abyss works, now that I've cleared that dungeon, nobody else will ever be able to play it again. You have one cheat? Yeah, I claimed the relic. Yeah, the dungeon's closed. So, that seed, that specific dungeon I was doing, is now done forever. No one will ever be able to play it again. And if I had died during that, other people can play it and would see my ghost and, like, could actually interact with it. But I wouldn't be able to ever play it again. Fucking got a relic, boys. What does that mean? Does that give me anything? I mean, this is a room with a whole bunch of empty relic slots. Holy shit. Where am I? Hold on. I could have sworn this is not what this looked like before. Yes, we are. This guy used to have a voice too. I don't know what happened. Like, it's not playing it's not playing the audio for anything but the sound effects. We checked my audio settings and it was fine. Yeah. Like, I mean, the master's kind of low, but that's just for my ears. Gain 2 hearts, but blessings are more expensive, eh? That sounds pretty worth it. I'll try that out for one. Or just your normal whip. Okay. I'm actually going to go ahead and call the stream for tonight, guys. I am very tired and have to work very early tomorrow morning. Hope you all had a good time. I will see you on Saturday for a much longer, more eventful stream. We'll do actual politics too, don't worry. We won't just talk about Ethiopia this time. Well, I guess Ethiopia's civil war is politics, but we'll do American politics. Don't worry.